right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and the truth. It's the brothers here from Great Millstone, Atlanta, and we have a lesson just going into the grim future of America. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, we just we're just basically dialoguing prior to the the opening, of course, of the video. We were just going into news and prophecies, basically. Brothers, that's of the helpful elect. We all are watching constantly, daily, always updating each other's with articles and slews of information.
That's right.
And everything is showing, bad news for America, man. From the agricultural destructions, we have was that Hurricane Dorian that's soon to hit, and they say that's basically going to demolish. Which I have the article right here. Labor Day weekend in Florida, they got what was it, 12 or 26 counties here in Georgia. A couple of counties here in Georgia, they're on a call, basically, whether of evacuation and things of that nature. I think it was hurricane where Georgia had got hit, and they was basically was suffering from a lot of their farms and agriculture in South Georgia any damn way. So this place is constantly being bombarded from either wildfires, hurricanes, hella debt, just destruction and death. And it's not just the United States of America. When you look on a global scale, you see what's going on in South America with these fires in the Amazon, as well as the fires in Africa. I think Senegal and different parts of Africa is being completely burned up.
Yeah, martial law in China.
Martial law in China, out there in Hong Kong. You see how biometrics is trying to take off, and they're looking to really, chip the masses of the people. And you see the war of Armageddon looming. All these things are constantly happening. It's like, the news, you just turn the channel, so to speak. You look at one thing on the news and you see the next thing on the news. All these things are looking bad. It's not no growth in the economy. It's not anything where you could aspire, to be great, so to speak, in America. And you have a lot of people that's looking for looking at an optimistic point of view when there's nothing but pessimism around us. You see that these different cops and these hellified shootings that's going on, and these cops are getting acquitted, and that's all to really show you that we're living in a full totalitarian government. So, of course, without further ado, we're just going to read a little bit in this article and touch a couple more articles to, show what times that we're living in.
Good. This is from blacklistingnews.com, and the title of the article is Florida declares a state of emergency as Hurricane Dorian sets to ruin Labor Day weekend. It says, just in time to spoil Labor Day weekend, Hurricane Dorian has barreled through the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico without causing much damage. And if I could say real quick, this is a hurricane that the Lord has formed, man.
Yep.
It's showing you that, these American holidays, are really out the window now, man. It's because if you know the spirit of holidays is pretty much dead here in America, man.
Yep.
That's right. This is another example, man. People won't be able to, set their big boy cookout, grill out at the park, and grill pork this weekend, man, because this hurricane is coming.
And I got a precept to go with what you were saying. This is Isaiah 29:6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest. You see? So these different, what people know as Mother Nature, which is really the Heavenly Father's nature, natural way of destroying Edomites and, basically the economy, that's all divine, man. That's divine intervention. And like I said, people were looking to party at Labor Day weekend, and all their fun is being spoiled now. And with the flame of devouring fire, and we see the fires that's going on. It's getting hot here in America, and it's getting to the point where so many things are getting destroyed. Oh, on top of the thing with the tariffs in China, which that when that really pops off, it's going to be hard as hell to really live in America, man. You see, because what China holds majority of the mass of the United States debt, and that back and forth debacle that's going on between both of those superpowers is gonna basically, the people, the citizens of the United States of America is gonna feel that in the back end, man.
That's right.
And you still got all this, after these destructions, it has to be a lot of reconstruction. You have to have FEMA come in. You have to have all these different departments to build these different, um, you know, centers, so to speak, food donations and all these things. It takes a lot of money to rebuild a community after such devastation, such as these hurricanes.
That's right.
But you can continue on.
It says, and now it's headed straight for the Florida coastline.
Mm-hmm.
After intensifying from a tropical storm into a hurricane late Wednesday, the storm continued to strengthen as it pulled closer to the continental U.S.
Yep.
The storm is expected to continue strengthening over the next few days, and is expected to make landfall on Florida's Atlantic coast as a Cat 3 storm late Sunday or Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And they updated it to Category 4 too.
Mm.
So that's a category that's expected to be a Cat 4
Mm-hmm.
by this, Sunday or Monday. You know, but the Lord is causing this, this destruction. You know, especially to the United States, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's going to increase as it says that the storm is increased. You know, these natural disasters are going to start increasing. You know, throughout the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And they always speaking about how these different disasters or whether the weather temperatures are basically unreal, man. You know, they're exceeding generations of record breaking storms or record breaking heat.
mm-hmm.
You know what they said about July, right? That was like
Yeah,
that.
July was the hottest month ever.
Mm-hmm. So the prophecy that Yahweh Shah already wrote or already prophesied in Matthew the 24th chapter, Luke the 21st chapter, is being really woken up now. It's being spoken, so to speak. The volume of the text is being amplified.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was hitting home during the time of Yahweh Shah. It was hitting home during those times, but in comparison to now, what Yahweh Shah was writing about was end time prophecy. You see, and we seeing all these things going on now. It's a little bit more on that, and of course you see the production of the storm. Brothers could of course check it out when you have the time. Trump did a tweet on it. Says Hurricane Dorian looks like it will be hitting Florida late Sunday night. Be prepared and please follow state and federal instructions. It will be a very big hurricane, perhaps one of the biggest. So this is what Trump tweeted, and you see the production of, it's basically hitting the Florida coastline, and those wicked ass Floridians.
Yeah.
2/3 of you Floridians, because the Most High Lord willing will protect the brothers in Florida. But it's a lot of wicked shit that goes on in Florida. When you think about Florida any dang way, that's a real perverse epicenter, so to speak. You got Orlando, which that's the with Orlando Magic, that because it's full of witchcraft, and you have what's this Disneyland.
Yeah, you got Little Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of those Haitians, those wicked ass Haitians are in Florida. Yeah, those wicked Levites. Yep. A lot of the Northern Kingdom stays in Haiti, and they're just full of debauchery. And Miami, that's Freak City. A lot of those women walk around nude and things of that nature. A lot of partying and drug use. A lot of women go to Florida to commit adultery, man. They might go travel from Georgia or Texas.
South Beach.
Yep, and hit South Beach. And they're not going there to just meet up with their girls and do book studies. They're going down there to frolic and suck off random men. Just being honest.
Yeah, being harlots, man.
Yeah, just being straight up harlots. Let's see if there's any other picks. This is Ron DeSantis. NHC Atlantic is forecasting that Dorian could be a major hurricane. We've been monitoring this storm with SCRT, and will continue to watch closely. All Floridians on the East Coast should have 7 days of suppliers. Prepare their homes and follow the track closely.
I seen something where this girl tweeted in Florida she actually lived in Florida. It ain't no gas. The stores are out of water, and people are really just being tyrannical, man, all because of this hurricane.
Yeah, and you know what happens when hurricanes and disasters hit? It's a lot of the crime rate goes up because people are in a panic. You got jack boys that never had opportunities to rob and scheme. They see that this is a hot time because it's a mass evacuation and things of that nature.
That's right.
You got people that just do dumb shit, you know, and this is a opportunity enough to go crazy, so to speak. These people don't have full reliance of Yahweh Shemal Shah. They don't believe that they're protected by the protectionary hedge of the Lord because they're just transgressors. They know all the wickedness they're going to be caught out there if these different storms and things hit. So they rely on, like it says, 7 days of packaging, bunkers. They rely on their fuel, their gas. They rely on their vehicles. The scriptures speak about how they trust in chariots and trust in the shadow of Egypt. They rely on the government because Trump spoke about how, the government is going to be monitoring and things of that nature. They trust these things to actually settle and loom down, die down, and everything to go back the same. But see what the Lord is going to do. He's going to keep turning it up. He's going to bring it to a point where everything that you see that's going on is going to keep hitting harder and harder and harder and harder to the point where you can't, you basically can't, basically deal in regards to it. All right. So I have this precept in Isaiah 30. It says, "And the Lord shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall shew the lightning down of his arm with the indignation of his anger, and with the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering and tempest and hailstones." You see, and when Egypt fell, that was one of the main things that took Egypt down was, different. The fire mingled in hell, which is in today's times would be known as natural disasters. You had abundance of frogs and locusts, death of the cattle, and all these things going on. The thick darkness to come upon the people. You see, the death of the firstborn. All those things were hitting Egypt with plagues, and it tells you. In Second Esdras, it was that, if I'm not mistaken, the 15th chapter, how New Egypt is going to be hit with plagues as before.
Yeah.
And this is New Egypt, as we know in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It says, "Thou shalt go to Egypt again." All right. This is Egypt being brought back, and the men of the Lord are quoting the same words as Moses. We read out the Torah, and what do we tell the government? Let our people go. Let us free. We're in bondage. We're being oppressed from the hand of the oppressor, and they don't want to put us on release. They're not trying to free the Latinos and the blacks and the Native Americans. Give them their land back. Give them opportunities, so to speak.
Total dominance.
They want total dominance and control.
Salaki, but even with the whole Amazon thing, man, they South America didn't even want help, from these other countries. Because I believe they offered them like 20. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like $24-25 million, to help out with the Amazon fire that's going on. But they rejected it because they thought that United States and all these other countries was going to want control, over the Amazon if they helped them out, man.
And that's what they do. They'll put large interest. Because if you get a loan for think about when you get a loan for $10,000 from the government or something. It takes forever to pay that back. Because what? They put interest, and they put interest on, they compounded interest. All right, so here it is that the Amazon is already in a bad situation, and the government is claiming to support them. So now they have a little bit of money, but now they got to pay back the powers that be. And then what happens? They start to compromise certain parts of the land due to the fact that they can't pay off that debt.
Yeah.
All right, this part of the land, you might get $60-70 million worth of land allotted to you. And they already said, it's people that, conspiracy theorists, that believe the government is burning it up their damn self, man.
Right.
All right? Which we believe it to be. It happened in the past. It's a possibility, above all, Because what happened in Rome? You had Emperor Nero burn down a portion of Rome, and he blamed the Israelites, man. So the so-called white man, you had this lady, when she was speaking about the burnings in Amazon. She said it was the government basically that was looking to burn up and create like cattle areas, basically cattle breeding areas.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing in regards to Esau, you can't put it past this devil, man.
Okay. I had a quick reset.
Okay, you got it.
It's Matthew chapter 24 and verse I read verse 7. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Mm-hmm.
All these are the beginning of sorrows."
Yeah, so the scarcity of substance is looming in America. You see this thing with the homeless. All right, it's starting to become an epidemic of homeless people. Even in San Fran, I think we did an article on that. Speaking about San Fran, and there's so much homeless feces all over the place that they can't clean it up. It smells like a shit capital, man.
Yeah.
And that's just what's going on, man. All throughout, the U.S. and all over the world, man.
And now they want to try to aid the homeless, but it's really too late.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so many, and they're so far gone that it's only so much that you can do for them, man.
It's only so much you could do for them, because the government is not truly looking to help us out. If the government was looking to help us out, they could have stopped it from the beginning, man. These super banksters in these major Fortune 500 companies, they became great from keeping people down, sucking based like a vampire company, sucking the blood out of the people, and you see the byproducts of the people actually becoming homeless. Mm-hmm. All right, but now they're trying to save the day. Get the hell out of here. Mm-hmm. But this is another article, which we'll probably not read the whole thing. Just like I said, we're gonna basically hit these different points to show. But it says law enforcement to flag and spy on future criminals. Now, in the present, you might not be a criminal, but they think you're gonna be a future criminal. Mm-hmm. And who's the main people that's targeted? White people, all right. These stock owners, these white collar Edomites. Hell no, you niggas, you rappers, you so-called black and Latino celebrities, you basketball players, all of you. It doesn't matter. The color of your skin, defines that you are a criminal. According to the government. That's why there's so many flag downs and there's so many blacks that get shooken down by the government, and they don't even have anything on them.
Yeah, you just had today DeMarcus Cousins, got a warrant put out on him, for a situation that he had with his ex-girlfriend. He said, I believe it was a phone conversation that I guess they recorded, which is they probably tapped his phone because he's such a huge, NBA star. Mm-hmm. But he said his ex-girlfriend wouldn't let his son be a part in his wedding. So he said, I'm going to shoot you in the effing head. So now they issued out a warrant on him just because of that statement. A warrant for arrest just because of that.
But wait a minute. What happened to the freedom of speech?
Right.
What happened to that? You have Trump disrespecting whole countries, calling their countries, their residents of asylum, so to speak, shitholes. Mm-hmm. That's
right.
But when Jake makes a statement such as that, and then you got Trump talking about bombing the whole country. My button is bigger than yours. What the hell is that? When you bomb a country, you're not only destroying the politicians, you're destroying the people.
Right.
You're destroying children, infants, women that's pregnant. The baby hasn't even came out, but you talking about how your button is bigger. Lock his ass up.
Exactly.
See? And then you had this one thing also, just to add to what you're saying, is that thing with DMX. Mm-hmm. That individual that was looking to lock an individual up, and they drew a sketch and it looked just like DMX.
Yeah.
DMX was red hot, man. But that's how they do, man. And that happened to even me a couple times. When I was younger, you might be walking around the neighborhood and the police stop you and say, "Hey, it's been a couple break-ins. Can we?" I remember one cop asked to check the bottom of my feet. Can I check the bottom of your feet to see if it's the same mutual footprint and this, that, and the other? And I'm like, man, what the fuck? I ain't breaking nothing, walking around with a white tee on, but I broken. Like, get the hell out of here. But all this profiling is getting worse and worse to the point where the law enforcement are gonna try to flag you down, like I said, spy on you on a larger rate, so to speak. But we'll go ahead and jump into it.
It says America's fear of mass shootings is about to take a truly bizarre turn. That's because our law enforcement will soon be used as fortune tellers to spy on future criminals. And how the hell is that possible? You really just playing a guessing game and just saying, "Oh, he a criminal, he a criminal, he a criminal, he not a criminal." All because like you was going into before. It's all going to be based on the color of your skin, man.
That's right.
You know,
And they're gonna judge everything according to your education level. That your education shows, according to Esau, that you're more likely to commit a crime. Which, in all honesty, it is kind of true. If you're poorly educated, if you're poorly brought up, then you're more excited to steal because you have less resources in your household. But let's deal with these mass shootings. A lot of these children, their family be well set off. It's not so-called niggas, as people know it, that's doing these mass shootings. So if you really want to deal in regards to that, what about these so-called white people?
right?
Which and in all honesty, it's fair game at this point with Esau. Esau is, you white people are the new niggas too, man.
Yeah, you got all these Malibu most wanted as Edomites out here, man.
Goddamn wiggers, man.
Yeah.
All they want to do is listen to some goddamn trap music. You go to their playlist, you would think they had name some Edomites. I can't even think of no Edomites right now. Edomite singer, some fucking Taylor Swift or something. Bum some straight Pac, man.
Right.
Or these new rappers, and Chief Keef.
Yeah.
And that type of spirit is jumping on them. Then they want to blow up a building, man. And it's been going on a lot. So we'll continue.
It says, how will law enforcement be used as fortune tellers? A recent Albuquerque Journal article revealed that law enforcement agencies in New Mexico will flag people that they think might pose a potential risk, and that's straight unjust judgment, man. Because everybody don't think the same. So one person may think that he may not be a criminal, and another person may think that he may be a criminal. So who is right, man?
Yeah.
So who makes the decision on who is right and who is wrong?
Yeah.
And
they're gonna start taking it very, very far as monitoring your cell phones, seeing if you have any type of criminal activity. Even with the RFID chip, that RFID chip, when it's established within your body, it can detect and monitor your pulse. It can monitor your emotional rate. If you're feeling in a spirit of irate or angry, if your emotions start to go on overdrive, then you might have the government knocking on your door. You see? So it's getting bad and bad, or worse and worse. And like I said, they're going to eventually start flagging people. What does that sound like? The Chinese social credit system, man. And it's going to be flags to the point where you can't leave the country. You might not be able to leave the state, depending on the level of flagging that you have going on. And it's really to keep you restricted. Keep you on a curfew and things of that nature. They might have it where you can't come outside at certain times of the day.
Yep.
All right, because they put you on a probationary period. All right. It's already bad enough in America. Is the opportunities is on a seesaw. Esau is at the top and you at the bottom. But now they're making it. They're making it where you Negroes, especially you Latinos, man. You Latins are in a worse box than us.
Yeah.
And you Native Americans, man. They're making it where you can't rise, you can't get up and grow in this society. There is no opportunity. That's why you have to turn unto Yahweh Shema Shai. It tells you in Micah the 2nd chapter that this isn't our rest. This place is bound to kill us. We'll just read a little bit more.
It says, what types of things could Americans do?
Oh, did we get that?
It says, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham directed State Homeland Security and Emergency Management Security, Jackie Lindsay, to start enrolling all 33 county sheriffs in data sharing in a data sharing program, so that individuals deemed a potential risk could be flagged and monitored.
Yeah, and so what are they going to monitor? You know, it's not like back in the day where they'll stand outside of your household and things of that nature. They're monitoring your laptop. They're gonna monitor. They're gonna monitor your smart TV. That's what all these things was created for any damn way. You know, all these new updated cell phones, which everybody's happy when the new iPhone comes out. Everybody's happy when the new MacBook comes out. Everybody happy when the new Samsung Galaxies and all these different technological, versions update and come to your local stores. And you see people piling up to grab these different devices, and it's to keep records on you. That's why you buy certain phones and it'd be like, fucking 200 gigabytes, terabytes. It's like, why you need all this information? You see?
Gathering up the evidence.
They're gathering up the evidence, and it has it where they have it now on these phones where you have iCloud accounts, where if you destroy your phone or anything of that nature, your information is still there, and you can transfer it to another. But guess what? All that long file of all that information, it can be accessed. You know, it don't matter if you have particular encryptions in your phone and things of that nature. You might try to keep your information extremely private, but it doesn't matter. You had this one thing with this little New York nigga, not New York, little Florida nigga, YMW Melly. He killed his friends, and they went through his Instagram account. They went through all his information. They put the surveillance on him. They seen times and date. They put everything and documented everything to charge this individual. So how much more you, the rest of you Jakes, that's not celebrities, that's not making ends meet. You think they're not gonna go through your Instagram account? And nowadays Jake put all their business on Instagram and Facebook. That's why these things are even named of such. It all sounds like really some government created platforms any dang way. We'll continue on a little bit more.
It says, what type? So like, if I read all that.
Yeah, you on that now? Yeah, you was done that.
What types of things could Americans do that law enforcement would consider threatening? Inside sources revealed that police would be looking for certain indicators. State Police Chief Tim Johnson said, "I think it's obviously important for all the citizens of New Mexico to be on the lookout for certain indicators of these type of folks that would do this. And part of our job as government officials is to ensure that the citizens of the community understand that those indicators are so they can report them."
Hey man, and this is crazy, man.
This is wild, man.
It's coming to the point where you don't, which of course we're not, unless we're seeing brothers, but we're not big on just traveling state to state in America. But it's coming to the point like, what the hell is the point of going to certain parts of Texas and New York and California? And it's getting bad, man. Some parts are just worse than others. They had this one thing passed, which we just seen, where individuals have to pay for transgender surgeries and crazy stuff like that. You see, it's getting worse and worse and worse, and depending on the area you in, it feel like no way out. But I'm gonna read this article, not this article, the scripture real fast. This is Habakkuk 1, and I'll start at 6. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. Right, so the ancient Chaldeans, which were the ruling class of the Babylonians, two characteristics they were known to be, what in the scriptures is bitter and hasty. As we know, America by definition is known as bitter, Amierkka. And it says hasty nation, which this is the United States of America. As a nation, it says, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. Now, did the Chaldeans actually go get off their thrones and knock on door to door and possess these different lands? No, they used troops. That's why we just read about how these different management agencies
such use government officials.
Yep, the Homeland Security and the Emergency Management Secretary, which have the federal FEMA Federal Emergency Management Agency, and then the Homeland Security, excuse me, are basically the domestic enforcement. So continuing on, it says they are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards. And you see these, even how these cop cars are designed, man. You know, all this different monitoring on these different cop cars, and you see how these different cops are looking to shut down certain things when they're committing these crazy acts. But what's going on now? These cops are really getting charged them damn selves, man.
Yeah.
Which back in the day, cops could beat the shit out of niggas, throw them on their hood, break their arms, lock them up, and create a fabricated story, and they couldn't get caught because you didn't have all this surveillance and you didn't have all this technology. But nowadays, you know, everybody's getting the whipping, so to speak. So it says their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and you know, leopards they're master predators. Leopards are bad, man. Leopards can climb. They're very sleek.
That's how they that's how they rolling up on these Iskarites, man.
Oh yeah.
You know that they going undercover, man.
Mm-hmm.
Riding up on right at their front door, man.
Yep.
You know, and taking their ass and throwing them in concentration camps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being slick and deceitful.
Yep. Hauling them away. So it says, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And the wolves, man, you know, you see how they roll in droves. And if you come in contact with a pack of wolves, there ain't no getting away. You better off running into a bear than running into a wolf, because you have certain you could play dead. You got certain tactics that you could use dealing with wolves. I mean, not wolves, but dealing with bears. You know, people say you could actually you could break free. They say it's certain ways to break free from sharks. It's certain ways to break free from these you know, certain vicious animals. But a pack of wolves, man, that's a whole nother story. I haven't heard any reports on how to get away from you know, 10, 20 wolves that's constantly on your ass. So thinking about that, dealing with regards to the government, that's why it tells you in Amos that if you flee one thing, it's gonna be like a bear met you, you know. So it's gonna be plagues upon plagues, and there's no talking and there's no reasoning with law enforcement agencies. You see these different jakes that try to talk and have exchanges, wise exchanges going into the U.S. Penal Code. Sovereign citizens. They're really actually exercising rights and everything. They're basically pulling out precepts from the law.
Yeah.
But what about statue so and so? What about da 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 da? What about, and next thing you know, a taser is in the back, man.
Yeah, they got glass hitting at the top of that taser.
Yeah, they got glass shards flying into their eyes from their the side of glass being broken from a
they want to roll the window down as much.
Yeah, because they want to roll. So like, yeah, because they don't want to roll the window down, but they'll give you the rights. They'll throw out all the rights, and you could tell the cops be looking like, man, I don't remember these rights, man.
Yeah, they be like, man, I'm about to lock it down.
Yeah, all I know is to tell this nigga
they gonna get off. The cops, man, they gonna get off, man. They might get suspended 3 days with pay.
Yeah. Yeah, they get suspended pay, and it's really better for them like that.
You ain't gotta work.
You ain't gotta work. You get to chill, and you get this, and you had the, you know, opportunity to fuck a nigga up, man. You know. And then you see these different crazy shootings, man. But that all goes into how Esau is the evening wolf. So they have the characteristics of swift, leopards, bitter, terrible, dreadful, hasty. Man, this is crazy. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get this charger real fast. You could. Verse 8.
God. It says, their horses are also swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves. And their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. You know, so they're going to be searching, you know, and looking to devour these people, man. You know, just as the eagle does, man, which is the highest flying bird, man. You know,
and that high flight represents surveillance. You can put that right there. Yeah, that high flight represents high surveillance. How they have the overseeing or the overview over you in these times now. And what sees over you in these days? Satellites. The satellite is the eagle. You know. And you see how different eagles or birds of big predator birds, when they swoop down, they capture so much momentum and they cut the air, and how they could just pounce down upon prey. Then they said, I think we was talking about it a couple of days ago, how they be knocking certain goats down. You got to
Oh
think
yeah, off the cliffs.
of them clips. Them goats be big as hell, man.
Mm-hmm.
Before eagles to have the strength to knock down such a big animal,
Mm-hmm.
they have power, man.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit more on that.
Yeah, that's verse 9.
Where's 9?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, I just wanted to see. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it says, "They shall come all for violence; their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sand." And that captivity represents you, Jake. It said,
Mm-hmm.
aren't we known as the sand of the sea in the scriptures?
Mm-hmm.
So for them to gather the captivity as the sand, that means they're gonna haul a lot of people. Oh, we see it with Issachar now.
Yeah.
Is that not gathering the captivity as the sand? There's a lot of Mexicans in the U.S. What they said over there in was it Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
How those different firms and chicken businesses and things of that nature, the ICE went in and invaded and took hella Mexicans, man. And then you have these different children that's being left basically without any parents. They have to go through
Mm-hmm.
certain orphanages. You seen it, it was a while back that certain children have to actually be on trial, and they have to represent
Yeah.
themselves, to
3 years old.
as young as 3 years old. So verse 10, "And they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it." Right. So they're not going to regard the kings and the leaders. That's why even like we just said before, the government that rules over us, or the police force that rules over us, they're dumb as hell. They have low IQs, and you see that they really don't even know the rights of the government. They don't know what rights citizens actually have. They just go off of the hip,
Mm-hmm.
and they just take affirmative action. That's all they know is action.
Yeah,
Action.
it's more of a physical, how physical can you be, rather than do you know about the laws and how you should go about this or that. It's
Hmm.
more of a, are you physically in shape, man, to fuck a nigga up, man.
Yeah, and they're very brutish,
Mm-hmm.
and we've all ran into cops. We're not just saying that because Jake don't just hate cops just because they feel like hating on individuals. No, cops are assholes, man.
Mm-hmm.
You see that they basically work with 30% of their brain, and they've been programmed that way. A lot of these different cops that actually go into the law enforcement, they've been bullied, they've been mistreated as their childhood. They've probably been bullied in school and things of that nature, and now they want to get back at some people, preferably niggas. You got a lot of racist cops that just hate niggas, man. It don't matter if you're a good citizen, you're a law-abiding citizen, you pay your taxes every year, you drive the speed limit, you go to work every single day, you don't cheat on your woman. You might run into an asshole cop and he might shoot you down. And you had this thing with Eric Garner. I think he still hasn't got any type of justice, because there is no justice in America. That's the thing about it. You look for justice, you strive for justice, you protest, you get up, and you try to plead with the government. You write papers to your state officials, your mayors, and you all try to gather and rally for a better way, or for equality. And it seems like the door is always being shut in your face, and that's what's going on. But you had anything? If not, okay. And this is the last article. This is dealing in regards to the war. This is, of course, the bigger picture, because it's dealing with, of course, in forums of local. But this is which I read the article. It says the CIA's Dark Prince doesn't want war with Iran. So it says 2 comments last week highlight the dangerous security impasse in which Iran and the U.S. find themselves. The first was from Iran's spiritual leader, the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, that maritime security will remain at risk if its oil exports continue to be compromised. The second was from the U.S. Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, that sanctions may be applied on any country that helps the Iranian tanker Adrian Darya One, as it makes its way back to Iran through the Mediterranean, having been released by the UK overseas territory of Gibraltar. Iran's view is now that the U.S. will not launch the full-scale military attack that was previously expected, that the U.S. is increasingly isolated in its actions against Iran among its allies in Europe and even in the UK. Yeah, it says that the U.S. is isolated in its actions against Iran among the allies in Europe and even the UK. A senior source who works closely with Iran Petroleum Ministry told oilprice.com last week. At the same time, Iran believes it can lever the U.S. back into a newly renegotiated nuclear deal involving the removal of all sanctions, he added. And really, you have these different individuals looking for, time to build themselves up. The government of Iran, they have understanding that the U.S. isn't dealing on a fair plate, and the United States is looking to go to war with Iran. It's already been written in the biblical prophecy, which we could get Ezekiel the 38th chapter, because it speaks about Gog, Magog, which is Russia, and it speaks about Persia, which yeah, you got that, which is the Iranians. So these different Iranians, they're gonna lock horns with America, Israel, America, and its allies versus Iran, Russia, possibly China, and this thing is gonna get worse and worse. You got it?
This is Ezekiel 38:1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against them, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal.
Yep, keep going.
It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws.
Yeah, and what's that? It's turning them back into that real Soviet mentality, the real rival, opposition to the American military, the American government. That's why you see these Russians basically busting bricks on their head, doing these different war drills because they're getting prepared for war.
Yeah.
The scripture tells you that in Joel to sound the alarm, blow the trumpet, because declare war. War is looming, and you see how so much money and so much military arms is in production, and it's going everything. A lot of things is going on in the hot center of the Middle East, and that's not for no particular reason. When all that heat is stirring up, what happens? It's a boil over. The aisles is turning up. These different nations are preparing. We just spoke about how these different tariffs from the U.S. and China are creating a continual rift between both nations, and it's coming to the point where they're not they're not trying to meet. They might have the representatives, or they might come and negotiate and do their diplomatic filibustering where they're talking, smiling, taking pictures.
G20s and G7s.
Yeah, these different summit meetings where they'll come together, and then people from the outside looking in believe they're on good terms, but in the background they're ready to drop bombs on each other, man. These different nations haven't forgot about war, like they forgot about World War I, World War II. The War of Vietnam, all these different wars that took place. They haven't forgot that. That's the main thing that's on their mind.
Yeah, and even if they work, even trying to come to some sort of agreement, through the scriptures, we know it ain't gonna happen. Because it says, in 1 Thessalonians, then they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction.
That's right.
So the Lord already got it planned out. What these Edomites are gonna do, man.
It's a little bit more on that.
It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure brothers recall that video where in Russia they had the opera singer, so to speak, singing about bombing America. They're ready to go to war, man.
Yeah.
But right now, of course, everything is a build up. As the saying goes, basically wars don't start overnight. You know, everything has to culminate. You know, like I said, the filibustering, which is the time wasting, all you know, the heat of the tension has to develop. You know, just like when you're playing chess, your first goal when you play chess is not to unless you're not, a master chess player, is to basically corner the king. You know, you mainly take it step by step. You work your steps up, and then you start to get to the point where it's like, all right, now I got way more opportunity on the board. You get the pawns out the way. You know, you start to knock off the brooks. You know, depending on the scale of tactics that you're coming with. And the reason why I said master chess player, because some of them individuals know how to move around and just drive things home. But see, in these times now, you have Russian intelligence, you have Chinese intelligence, you have American intelligence, you have Iranian intelligence. That's why reading the title, the CIA's Dark Prince doesn't want war with Iran. So the CIA represents what? The United States Intelligence, Central Intelligence Agency. And they have their own agencies where they know what's to build up, and they believe, and they see what can possibly the possible outcome of war. And so a lot of them see loss. A lot of them see a lot of destruction of resources. A lot of them see a great L, depending on how forces come together, and ally with one another, and what angles they may potentially take to destroy the nation. And they're looking to build strategy and tactics. That's why you always have generals in the military. That's why you always, like I said, have intelligence agencies. You have all this money to come and bring these different people together, and you have unions within the government, so that they could find different economic and military means of fighting and overcoming the threat that's opposed to them. So these different nations, they're basically muscling up. They're pumping themselves with steroids, so to speak, and they're finna step on a one-on-one, so to speak. A little bit more.
It says, verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet.
Yes,
so they're getting ready to go to war, man. It said,
no, you go ahead.
It says, Gomer and all of his bands, which is the army. It says, the house of Togomar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee.
Yeah, and that's the whole Russian Soviet area. Gomer, Togomar, all these different nations, and like you said, they're getting militarily strapped. All the money that the government is doing, it's not going towards medicine. It's not going towards mainly healing of the people. They're trying to fight this war. That's why it says beat the plowshares into pruning hooks. A plowshare is a agricultural tool used for mass building, and growth in the agricultural market. All the money's not going towards no goddamn agriculture.
Hell no.
The money is being transferred to federal fighting. That's why you see U.S. centers or United States bases all over the world, and they're looking, like I said, if you see it from a bird's eye view, you see how they're trying to play chess, take over this plot of land, so that they could basically choke the neck of the enemy, depending on whether it's their pipelines, their oil rigs. That's really like the lungs of the nations. That's how they breathe. That's how they function. Even the oil itself is known as the blood of the earth. Without certain oil exports and certain resources, you lost at all times. Depending on war, if we're going to war one-on-one, if I have way more resources than you, if I could outmaneuver you, if I have more muscle than you, then you're gonna lose 10 times 10.
Yep.
So these different nations, before they go to war, they have an objective, and that's why we was talking about it earlier. Me and the bishop, Tazo, the other day we was talking about how really a lot of these different states in the United States are basically being drained dry. They're being sucked up, and basically they look like wastelands because they need to sacrifice. They have to sacrifice certain cities. They have to sacrifice certain areas to amplify. It's just like, basically like when you're working out or something like that. If you're constantly working on your arms, then you're gonna have a very, very strong upper body, but you're gonna have a very, very weak lower body.
Mm-hmm.
But see, Esau, he wants to strengthen his muscle because he wants to pack that punch. He's not trying to depend on the lower extremities in his battle, so to speak. You know, he wants to just get it over it and win forever. But the thing is, he's stretched too thin.
Yep.
He's stretched way too thin. He has too many forces he's coming against domestically. You know, from domestic terrorism to conspiracy theorists to national threats and things of that nature, to the point where you can't cover that much grounds, and that's exactly how Rome fell. Rome was stretched way too thin,
Yeah.
and they tried to create the eastern and if I'm not eastern and western Rome to have a level of I would say cover more grounds, but even that didn't work. It felt worse. It's a little bit.
They was able to attack each side.
They was able to attack each side, and they wasn't on good terms.
Yeah.
And is America on good terms with the EU and these different governments? It may seem like they are, but they're not. That's why you had this big thing with the Brexit. But some more.
It says, "Be thou prepared." So like I read that. Oh no, it says verse 7. "Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Mm-hmm.
After many days thou shalt be visited."
Yeah, and so Russia's being a guard unto Iran and these different nations.
Mm-hmm.
That's why America is very, very hesitant, and they're using a high level of self-awareness when dealing with Iran and dealing with these other countries. They don't want to just invade. They don't want to just march into their land. They need to build a plot. They need to build a scheme. They need more time. They need more territory before they actually make surgical strikes. You know, make these deep executions, so to speak. It's a little bit more on that because we'll just cover it. Close with that scripture.
Oh yeah, it says, "After many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is bought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely all of them."
Yeah, and even Israel, which are the people of the land, they actually are going to get into this war. That's why I said the least of the flock shall draw them out. And you see that Israel is a big, even though it's a little nation, it's always big in the news, of doing certain things within the Middle East, certain production or certain strikes and things of that nature, because they know they're backed by a bigger government, which is the United States of America. But as we see, it's getting worse and worse. Like I said, domestically, we just went into the Hurricane Dorian. We see nationally, we see how it's more surveillance. We see all these different things that's going on. And tomorrow is going to be way more stuff. Next week is going to be way more stuff.
Yep.
As the longer we stay in America, the worse that we're going to see, because it tells you in Isaiah the 13th chapter, it's going to be as a woman in travail. A woman in her third 3-4 months holding a child, she might be catching hell. It's like, man, you ain't even got over the hump yet. You still got a couple more months. What's that? 3-4 months. You still got six more months to hold this child. You still have to go through more cramps. You still have to go through more pain.
Then you gotta deliver the baby.
Then you have to deliver the baby. And it's just like that with America. So this is just something we have for Akim, just to go into news and prophecies, the grim future of America. Hopefully you brothers was edified. We're gonna end it by giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom.
Shalom.